the addiction recovery specialist on 031 563 0751.
Getting you through your day. Radio Al Ansar.
Get ready for Green Thumbs Up, the gardening and natural living show you didn't know you needed. I'm your host and life coach, Rabia Carvalho, and we're talking birds, bees, butterflies, and blooms, growing food in garden rooms, home-based holistic healing, and much more. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or nature lover, plant assassin, or permaculture professional, we got you. We got you. Let us bring you the ideas, the facts, support, and inspiration to go green wherever you are. Sundays 9 to 10 a.m. only on Radio Al Ansar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey, hey, hey. It's Green Thumbs Up Day. Yes, another Sunday, another fun day, another green day. I'm your host and life coach, Rabia Carvalho. You're tuned in to that Dini connection with the Jannah intention. Radio Al Ansar, and this is Green Thumbs Up. Yes, we are that gardening and natural living show you didn't know you needed. The one where everybody's an expert, but nobody has all the answers. Do not move from your seat today. In fact, if you can, head on over to Facebook, because we're live on Facebook this morning, because I have a little something to show you since I am doing a little giveaway. Now, with me today is Brother Zachariah, who is our sound engineer for the show today. And check us out on Facebook, because I want to show you something very, very special. We're also going to be speaking to our very dear friend, regular on the show, Dr. Carrie Goodwin, a specialist horticulturist par excellence, who's going to tell us all about gardening in August. Yes, indeed, August is coming up, and we are approaching spring, folks. We're approaching spring, so there is lots to do in the garden, and we're going to be chatting to her a little bit about that as well. So firstly, I want to talk to you about something that's quite radical and extremely old, yet it is being rediscovered through medical studies, and it is something that I picked up in Portugal, and I have brought all the way from Portugal with me. I'm going to show it to you this morning. So if you're on Facebook, this is what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like a dead little ball of tumbleweed, and it can sit in this dead state for anything 15, 20 years. Yes, 15, 20 years. And then suddenly it revives. So we are going to revive it on the show today. Now, what is it? What is it? Well, do you remember the mRNA vaccine? Zach, remember they spoke about the COVID vaccine being an mRNA vaccine, right? Well, what if there was a plant that's been successfully tested as an anti-cancer plant, demonstrating its ability to destroy cancer cells because it works on a DNA level? There is. And it is a very special rose, the one I'm holding in my hand. It doesn't have a fragrance, not at all. It just looks like a dead ball of weeds, all kind of closed up together. But it is called a rose of Jericho, or a resurrection plant. Why resurrection plant? Because she resurrecteth from the deadeth, that she looketh at the momenteth. Yes. So if you hear about the plant, make a mental note of the facts, because at the end of the show, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. 3 questions. You must get all these 3 questions right, and you can win yourself the resurrection plant that I have brought with me from Portugal, especially for you. Especially for you. Yes, it is. So what is the Rose of Jericho, or the resurrection plant? Well, there was a study in 2024 that spoke about it being a valuable source of natural bioactive compounds. Yeah. So this one is botanical name, or its Harry Potter name, is Anastatica hierochuntica. Okay. And then there is Selaginella lepidophylla. This is the Selaginella lepidophylla. It is a little bit rarer than the others. Here it is. It is a little bit more rare. It's less attractive. Yes, it's not a very pretty plant, but you know what? Dynamite isn't pretty either, and it makes an impact. Okay, so let's just get with it now. All right. It's definitely less attractive, but it does bear small little white flowers. So what I'm going to do right now for you, if you're on Facebook with me, I'm going to take this little glass pot that I brought with me, little dish. I'm going to put it the Rose of Jericho in there, and I'm going to pour some water over it because I want us to see. Now, it should take about 24 hours to open completely, but I do want us to see how far we can get it to open up on the show live. So all I need to do is make sure that its roots are covered. So here it is at the camera. There's the camera, and there are its roots, as you can see, very brown, very dry, completely dead. Now we're going to sit that in the water, and every once in a while, I'm going to show you what she does, what she doeseth. Okay, there she is. You can see it's very dead, it's very closed, and it's brown, like just a ball of wool, a brown ball of wool. Now, why is she important? Now, decoctions of these leaves. You could make a tea with these leaves to treat mastitis, coughs, flus, backaches, abdominal pain, kidney illnesses, hemorrhoids, yes, scurvy, halitosis, bad breath, hypertension, and even gingivitis. And if you were on the show with Zahir Bassa this past week, you will have heard me on the show with him. We were talking about rejuvenation of the body at a DNA level. And we were talking about the importance of the oral health, mouth health for avoiding Alzheimer's. So today, one of the plants that can help you with oral health is exactly this, the resurrection plant. It's only been a few seconds, but you can see it's absorbed the water already. Let's see now as it begins to slowly change color. So oral health, this is one of the things you could do. The other, of course, is stevia. And you can make yourself a cup of stevia tea for your oral health. But bygones, back to the resurrection bush. Now, the resurrection bush tea is loaded with minerals. It's got a very soothing effect. So if you've had a hectic day and you're wanting something to just relax you and calm you down, then this is what you're wanting. You're wanting a cup of tea of the resurrection bush. Colds, flus, inflammation, headaches, backaches, bad breath. And there have been quite a few papers that have been published in recent years with regard to the extraction of the elements in this plant. And I'm always concerned when Big Pharma starts to extract elements. Take aspirin. What do? They took the white willow bark and they extracted something called salicylic acid from the white willow bark. And now we have aspirin. Yeah, but aspirin has side effects and the white willow bark does not. Why? Because nature contains other elements that isolated salicylic acid doesn't have. They've done the same thing with cannabis, where they have taken the THC isolated, taken the CBD isolated, but yet there are properties within the cannabis plant used medicinally, of course, that prevent certain side effects that taking like a full-on THC or CBD supplement would give you, THC being the one with psychedelic or hallucinogenic properties, and the other CBD being one that is safe even for children that has no psychological properties at all. So why does Big Pharma do this? And why do they want to do it now to the resurrection plant? No. Hands off the resurrection bush, hands off the Rose of Jericho. The studies have shown that it's predominantly used as a cure for things like cancer, things like kidney disease, even advanced kidney disease. And the studies are based on experiments that have actually been double-blind experiments that have been parallel to chemical extraction things. So they're doing the chemical tests as well as they're doing the plant itself test. And guess what? It is anti-aging, anti-radiation. Not a lot out there is anti-radiation. And you can take it as a tea or you can apply it on the skin. It increases the synthesis of your mRNA. And that means it's going to give you more collagen. It's going to restore your elastin to your skin. And so these are some of the facts that you need to know about the resurrection plant in order to win one today. So anti-aging treatments protects the skin from oxidation, increases elasticity, enhances skin radiance, helps to remove pigmentation from the skin. And guess what? When it dies and it's brown and it's dead like it was, oh, look, she's beginning to open. Look at that, Zach. Look at that. Look how she's beginning to open. Yes, she is. Look at this first few branches already opening up. Ideally, I should have it in a bigger pot. But when it opens up completely, it is used to make incense, which purifies the air against microbes. How's that? How's that? A plant that in its living state gives you so much benefit, and in its kind of suspended animation or dry state gives you massive benefit as well. And stay tuned next week, because next week I am going to give you some recipes on how to make your own buhur and incense at home. But how do you prepare a cup of this resurrection tea? I'm going to come back and give you that information just now so that it's not information overload. But first, I'm going to take Dr. Carrie Goodwin, who is on the line waiting for us. Dr. Carrie Goodwin has been on the show many times. She is a much loved, not just by me, but all of y'all and all love Dr. Carrie because she gives us all the facts in the lowdown. She gives us all the tea on what's happening in gardening. So, Dr. Carrie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm good, thank you. Were you listening to me talk about our little resurrection plant?
I was. And actually, I'm thinking, that plant I haven't seen for ages. It's one of those rarities that are actually quite difficult to get.
Yes, they are.
And so I think if you have a friend of a friend who knows, or, it's, I want to feel like it's an underground plant. One of those ones that are traded, not in your usual garden centers, because I know as a garden center owner, we battle to find them. And wow, when you first were starting to speak about it, I was thinking, resurrection plant? Because I know the other plant that doesn't have all those similar properties, but when it comes to skin health, was the aloe vera. My manager was telling me, you just have to have aloe vera or aloe ferox for skin cancer and pigmentation and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I love the idea of the resurrection plant, and I'm going to go on a mission to try and join that underground group to get them.
Well, you talk to me after the show. I may have one especially for you, my love.
Oh, wow. So excited.
But I'm giving one away on the show today, and I've got it up on Facebook so people can see how it is beginning to open. Now, it does take 24 hours, but I've given it quite a bit of water here because I wanted to grow. I wanted to open up at least substantially so folks can see it you can already start to see it begin to turn green. It's only been a few minutes. The inside begins to turn green before the outside, and it slowly opens up. Now, I have one of these giant mugs. You get these giant mugs, and I have it sitting on my dining room table, and then I have a resurrection plant in it.
Oh, and I like that idea rather than coffee or soup or green tea.
Yeah, it's a giant.
In mugs is one of my favorites.
So when I say a giant mug, I actually mean one that takes about 2.5 liters of water.
Oh, wow.
It's one of those. And I love it because it actually fills that entire base of that mug because it looks quite small. If you're looking on Facebook, Radio Al-Ansar, it looks quite small. But as it opens up like a plate, like a dinner plate size.
Wow. I'm definitely going to be watching the progress on Facebook as the day progresses. So I'm very excited.
It's only going to be on the show, I'm afraid. I won't leave it here.
No.
No, only on the show, but I've got it up so people can begin to see it going green. There will be a replay though, so you can go and have a look at it there.
Okay.
But you and I are talking about some very nice things today, which is what to do in the garden in August.
Well, I think you've almost introduced it already in terms of the resurrection.
Yes.
I feel our gardens are coming back to life. And I know in winter, it's different for you guys maybe down in Natal because it's beautiful down there. Wow. And I'm not sure you actually get to sleep too much in winter. Whereas here in Gauteng, our gardens get to go to rest. We, huddled up inside. But all of a sudden, I can just see that the plants are coming back. The spring blossoms are slowly opening. And I think that is the joy of gardening.
Yes.
Is that you get to, live these different aspects of your plants throughout the months as they change, as they grow and evolve and give you happiness and joy and maybe fruit and produce as well.
And isn't it so revitalizing when you know spring is coming and you have a garden or just a few pots on your balcony and you can actually begin to feel kind of almost an energetic shift in yourself when you begin to see that ground crack open and those little plants begin to bud, or the things that have looked so dead begin to revive themselves. Not so I find that for myself.
Yeah, well, actually, it was so fascinating for me because we've been having a beautiful weekend, and quite a few of the customers have come into the garden center and they've said, spring is in the air. And it's this eager anticipation of what are we going to do now? Because, I always think in June and July, we do all the planning, we harvest in all our citrus, although the citrus seems to just be going on and on and on.
Right.
But now you get to start waking up your lawn. Our lawns start to go from that dull brown, terrible color, which is so necessary. I think we have to respect the fact that plants do need the opportunity to rest. So I do think rest is very important, but now it's time to say, hey, snap out of it and let's spring begin. So we get to do that. If you haven't pruned your roses yet, which I know I'm one of those. I haven't pruned my roses yet. So I know I have to start pruning my roses. That's my job today, is to go out and prune my roses. And I'm actually going to start almost not the planning, but I'm going to start reassessing my garden. I heard a lovely thing last night. And I said to my friend, I can't believe I've never heard it before. She says she describes compost as like a bed that we sleep in. Because lots of people, and even I'm hearing it more and more in the garden center, they either don't realize the importance of good soil, or they think that compost is the same as fertilizer, which I don't think is true for any of your listeners. But just as a reiteration, she said compost is like a good bed. If you have a good bed, you sleep well and you wake up revitalized in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't prepared your garden beds well and you haven't got good compost, and whether it's making your own compost at home, using your bokashi, using your earthworm, there's so many ways to make compost. Or if you don't feel like the schlep of making it, or your neighbors complain, then obviously go into the garden centers and buy it, because it's also a wonderful product.
And remember, not to interrupt you, but folks, compost tea. Compost tea, I don't mean tea necessarily the black tea that we're drinking, but compost tea. You can make compost tea from all sorts of things. Add a little bit of guano in there, add a little bit of sea grow in there, add a little bit of eggshells in there, a little bit of coffee grounds in there. You make yourself, that was my secret to growing giant spinach leaves. It was compost tea.
And I think that's wonderful, because we should be replenishing what we're taking from the earth. So what we are taking in terms of our fruit and our vegetables, and not reusing, and putting it back into the soil if we have those opportunities. As I said, if you don't have the space or the bokashi buckets, or this, able to make the tea as easily, because your neighbors, like I know my neighbor, she gets offended by all the smells that come from my garden. It's our usual chat over the garden wall. She's like, what are you doing now? And I'm like, no, I'm replenishing my soil and I'm putting down fresh compost. She's like, I can smell it.
And August is one of the busiest months in terms of preparation, hey? I think compost is,
And I think if you don't do that preparation, then your garden won't thrive in the summer months. Because in the summer months, all your plants, or spring months even, all your plants want to do is look good for you. They just want to perform at the best of their ability.
Yeah.
But if you haven't given them the tools, it's like trying to run a 10-kilometer race when you haven't even walked 1 kilometer beforehand.
For sure.
So really go out and, as I say, look for good compost. August is going to be starting the month where we're starting to talk about arbor a lot, because going into September, it becomes arbor month and planting trees. And I was thinking a lot this week about how to save our planet. And because our planet is so under threat, and, climate change is such a reality in all of our lives. There's just no doubt. You can see it on a daily basis, how it's affecting us. And it's going to be plants. Plants are the ones that are going to help us, that are going to replenish the land that we are so destroying.
Plants are so much wiser than us, Carrie. They are so much wiser than us. Look how plants take up time out to detox and stop their digestive system and slow down in the winter. We don't even do that once a year.
Exactly. And we put so much pressure on ourselves to perform, but we don't give our body and our gardens and ourselves the tools to be able to perform naturally. So then I think we feel we have to take so many additives to, like that wonderful cup of coffee in the morning. And please, I'm one of those. I love the coffee in the morning.
You need the caffeines.
Absolutely, and the sugar and everything that goes with it.
Oh no, not sugar, please, not sugar. No.
I'm trying the honey route. Don't worry, I'm getting there.
Okay.
But I just think so. What we could learn from plants is really important. And as you said, August is all about preparation. So, have a look around your garden. But also don't forget that some of the plants are already starting to look good. Like we planted Namaqualand daisies. And it's the first year that I've had success with Namaqualand daisies. They're actually competing with my poppies.
Wow.
And I think the poor bees, they don't know which ones to choose. They're like, I can have a little bit of Namaqualand daisy, I can have a little bit of poppy, and then I'm going to go here. And they just, and then the osteospermums are starting to look so gorgeous. So all those Cape daisies. Yes. And so when you're going around and looking, look at the joy and the color that's actually already coming out of the winter and saying that spring is in the air. Because, in our gardens, we have, I think our gardens show us how the different seasons are coming.
Yes.
And as I say, for me, the daisy family, so whether it be the Cape daisy, the Namaqualand daisies, okay, poppies is not of that, but even our traditional English daisies, the Argyranthemums, they're all starting to look gorgeous already. And I can literally I walk around the nursery and I'm listening to the bees buzzing and saying, yay, thank goodness, the flowers are opening and I can be happy again.
And if the flowers are out early and the bees are out early, what happens then is we end up having lots of really good fruit because pollination is going to happen early. So we don't always think about the knock-on effect of things like bees and wasps as well, because I know the wasps are out as well now, and they are pollinators.
I was going to say, and I think of bees and I think of the honeybees, but actually, I was so kindly reminded by a customer recently that it's not only the honeybees that we need to focus on, it's all those solitary bees as well.
Yes.
That are in our gardens. And I mean, if you're walking around, you might not see them, or they look different and they look strange and you're thinking, oh my goodness, should I really be having that in my garden? But we actually should be providing for them. And if you've got an old wood pile and I always think of how you make those bee hotels with the different size holes in them. Those are joyous to have in your garden, and those are specifically for the solitary bees. We had one customer who said to us they'd created a bee hotel, and she said, it's better than watching a soap opera to see who comes and goes in this hotel.
So now,
she says it's fascinating.
Okay, so Carrie, you're going to tell us about bee hotels. It's 9:30. I'm going to have to take an ad break. I cannot believe how time flies when you and I are on the show, honestly. But for the listener at home, don't go away. I'm actually going to ask Carrie to take us through the process of making your own bee hotel. So a really nice one.
Fabulous.
Stay with us until we come back from the break. It's a very short break. We'll be right back after this.
Radio Al-Ansar, Durban, 90.4 FM. Peter Maritzburg, 105.6 FM.
You've asked, and we've listened. The Sultan Bahu Family Fete is here again. Help us heal hearts by joining us at the Old Durban Drive-In from the 8th to the 11th of August, 10 a.m. to midnight for loads of fun, food, shopping, a grand fun fair, comedy, Carvalho, and giveaways. For stall inquiries, call Tasneem on 081-836-2888. That's 081-836-2888. The Sultan Bahu Family Fete. A fate with a purpose. Sultan Bahu is a registered NPO and PBO.
The Watch Doctor. For watch repairs, watch batteries, watch straps, 21st keys, engraving, and sound for your occasion. Handled professionally at 263 Sparks Road, Mohammedia Center, Suite 104, Overport, next to the Sparks Road Masjid. Contact Zain on 082 542 3070. The Watch Doctor. The Watch Doctor. Keeping time every time.
Come get our butcher's best for less at Checkers Foods Cowie Park. Enjoy certified halal butchery products like Steakhouse Classic Sirloin Steak on the bone that equates to 30 Rand per 300 grams. Beef tenderized steak per kg, 89.99. Chicken breast fillets, 59.99 per kilo. Deals valid until Sunday, August 4th. Only at Checkers Foods Cowie Park. Now certified by the NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust, across our butchery, bakery, and deli.
at the night? See the light of the moon? Did you look at the sun giving you warmth? Did you look at the sky? Are you falling in love? It is from the Creator. You can't get enough. He is everywhere, and He knows we stare. Yes, He knows. Yes, He knows. He knows. You've got the world in your hands. He's the one who we're thanking for life. He is a Rahman. Allah. He is a Rahman. Allah. See the birds how they fly. Feel the tears when you cry. He's the one who gives everything. He'll never leave you behind. 'Cause He's the one that always makes things better. And He's the one that always lives forever. He's everywhere. He knows we stare. Yes, He knows. Yes, He knows. You've got the world in your hands. You gotta thank Him for life. He is a Rahman. Allah. He is a Rahman. Allah.
Welcome back. It is 9:35 and you're listening to Green Thumbs Up with me, Rabia Carvalho. You can find me on the socials as Life Coach Rabia Carvalho, and you can follow me. We talk about all sorts of things on my socials. You can find all sorts of information on nature's apothecary, healing plants, and mental, emotional, physical healing. And talking about physical healing, we had Dr. Carrie on the line. We're going to get her back on the line. We're hoping she will join us on video. And in the meantime, I want to show you what's happening on Facebook with this resurrection plant. Look how she is opening up, and you begin to see the color start to change. It's only been half an hour. It will take a full 24 hours before she goes completely green. But a Selaginella lepidophylla, this is her. And I just want to give you some more information while we wait for Dr. Carrie to join us again, because this is a giveaway. You will have heard Dr. Carrie say that this is a rare plant. These are not easy to find. These are a very, very special plant that grows in water just like this. And all you have to do is keep it in the water, clean the water out every 2 to 3 days, and you're good. So if you're wanting to win yourself one of these plants, we're going to be opening up the lines later on in the show, just after 9:45, and we are going to be asking you some questions. So let me just recap some of the information that I gave you. So Selaginella lepidophylla, it is less attractive, bears little white flowers, but it is excellent for mastitis, which is breast pain, coughs, flus, backaches, abdominal pains, kidneys, illnesses, particularly chronic kidney diseases. There has been a lot of research done on the resurrection plant. And how do you make the tea? Well, you would bring a half a liter of water to a rolling boil, okay? Let it boil, and then turn off the heat and drop in 2 to 3 twigs. Literally, I'm going to show you on camera. This is all you need. This is all you need, like a little twiggy. This fell off of herself. So this is all you need. And you're going to put that into the pot with the heat off, and you're going to let it steep for 15 minutes. It's going to make a tea that's very beautiful, amber colored, that is like a yellowish golden type of color. And you can drink this in the morning and in the evening. Don't drink more than a liter a day. But if you're going to build your immune system, then this is what you can do. Now, this plant I have brought myself in from Portugal. I have another one which I am giving away on this show today. And yeah, so this is her. Now they some of them, so if I were to look at the resurrection plant, this one grows in water. Now, the prettier one grows in soil, but it's a finicky one to take care of, right? So there are two different rows of Jericho, right? There's the Jericho plant and then the resurrection plant, and they're both known as roses of Jericho. So this is some of the information that you need to know, right? You'll change the water daily or every other day. Allow the plant to take 24-hour breaks from the water every week. So once a week, let them dry out just a little for 24 hours, and then once a month you can let it dry out completely. Have a look on Facebook and see. I'm going to have to start lifting it up so that you can see it, because it has opened up so substantially. But Dr. Carrie's on the line and she's going to tell us how to make a bee hotel. Carrie, you're back. Thank you. It's 9:38. Tell us about the bee hotels.
So actually, if you're making them, you just need a little plank of wood.
Yeah.
Probably they can be I was going to say ours are small, so they're 5 centimeters wide, probably about 20 centimeters long, but you can make them bigger and bigger. And then you just drill in holes, probably 3 centimeters deep, and of different sizes. So you use different size drill, and you drill in the holes, and actually then the bees, and that's all you do. It's so simple. And a lot of people then make it, they turn it from their bee hotels into insect hotels. But it's just actually somewhere where the bees to come and put their the nectar, and they create wax. So you'll see when the bees come and start using your hotels, then the holes then get filled with like a little bit of a beeswax, obviously. And you're like, oh my goodness, my hotel is being used. And then the different bees would pollinate it fill it with different color beeswax, but it's all often shades of yellow and cream. So it's a really simple thing, a lovely thing to do with kids. If you wanted to as well, what we've done sometimes is, because, with kids, you don't actually really want to use a drill. So we go and we get different sized twigs and bamboo, and we use an old tin. And then we get an old tin, and then we fill it with different twig sizes and, as I said, bamboo that has its own holes in it. And then not only do the bees come to that, but then different insects come to that, because they just need somewhere that's a little bit cozy where they can go in and form their own nest or home. And so we've had great fun making insect hotels as well. And we've used it, we filled them with, as I said, twigs, bamboo. We filled it with a little bit of straw sometimes. So we're attracting a variety of different insects and pollinators into our garden. And then we hang them either around our garden at the garden center, we hang them around the garden center and in our trees. And it's just a welcoming atmosphere for different insects and pollinators to come into that space and feel at home.
It's a brilliant thing to do this.
I really love it.
Awesome. A wonderful thing to do this August is to make yourself a little bee hotel. Perhaps, keep it away from the children if you don't want children being stung. Because bees, children are such that they tend to kind of poke the bees or, get a bit too close. Bees don't instinctively want to hurt you. They don't. In fact, the last thing a bee wants to do is to sting you, because that costs them their life. So bees actually tend to avoid stinging human beings. And so, make up your bee hotel and go ahead and also take care of your lawn. Carrie, you were talking about the lawn. Let's talk about some things that you could grow. I know that tomatoes are really doing well at the moment.
So the tomatoes I just love this time for planting new seeds. And there's going to be a lot of new seeds available from the different suppliers. Or I heard a wonderful thing yesterday that you could do seed swaps with your friends. I'm always about, I think all gardeners are generous and love sharing.
Yes.
But there's lovely different tomatoes that are coming onto the market. So you should definitely start planting tomatoes, start planting your chilies. I think the idea of hot and spicy food, everybody's loving it. And I don't think it's ever going to go away, because I think it's quite healthy for you.
And
although you would
so
know
many
better
health
than I do.
benefits, so many health benefits. Not only that, but it's yummy for the tummy.
For sure. And so, your chilies, I love this planting seeds now, especially our veggie seeds and herb seeds, because the variety is so incredible and it's so colorful. You can start looking at the garden centers to see if you can find some of your different melons, some of your different squashes. Not quite now, but during the month of August, you can, it's a time to plant for wonderful harvest going onto, later in the months, November, December, January, etc., like that.
Yeah.
Because obviously some of the bigger fruits and herbs, they're going to, not your herbs, but your fruits are going to take a long time to germinate.
Your pumpkins and your sweet corn and your maize, you can also start to sow them for later harvest down the line,
Yes.
And planting out your sweet potatoes is something you could do in August as well. And then what do you think about eggplants? Eggplants at the moment in seed trays, maybe?
Definitely. Yes. It really is all the delicious things. Like when I'm walking around the garden center now, I'm thinking of all the plants that we harvest, that we planted in winter. So all those brassicas and that sort of thing. And that's what we're busy harvesting, and our mustards, and they're doing so nicely. But they're all green. And now we get to harvest and plant, not harvest. Now we get to plant all the delicious, sweet tasting. Can see I have the thing for lovely sweetness.
Natural sweetness is good.
Fruit.
Yes, it's awesome. Watermelons.
Plant our beans.
Yes.
So, just have a look around and see what you can see. And then the one thing that actually, and I think you would also probably know more than me, is a lot of people are asking about sunflowers.
Yes.
Can they start planting their sunflowers already? Not only for the beauty of the sunflowers, but I'm thinking that people are starting to put a lot of the seeds that they would normally plant into their smoothies and into their breakfasts and into their, I have it with oats in the morning. So people are starting to think of their health. How can I grow my own so that I could get my own seeds later on? And so I'm thinking even flowers, people are starting to plant them and thinking of the beneficial properties that they're going to have way down the line, besides just the beauty of having a sunflower in your garden.
Yeah. Interesting. It's interesting about sunflowers is a lot of people think sunflowers are only for the seeds or only for the beauty of it. And not a lot of people know that sunflowers, the flower themselves, actually moves across the sky with the sun. That is why it's called a sunflower. We think everybody knows this, but not everybody knows this. But did you know, dear listener, as you are at home, that you could actually fry the sunflower or cook it or even put it into a stew before those seeds are completely fully formed. Each one of those, if you look at the sunflower, this is something interesting that I didn't know about it. We always think of the sunflower as one big flower, right? And whilst it's got all these beautiful petals on the outside, those that entire inside bit that looks brightly colored, those are individual flowers that turn into individual seeds, right? It's a plate that is a flower filled with tiny flowers inside, and each one becomes a sunflower seed. And you can cook that. You can actually put some masala on there if you like, and you can actually put it into some butter, and you can eat it like a lovely steak, sunflower steak.
I'm liking the sound of that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a chat next year, January, February, when these flowers are about.
Yes.
And see how our sunflower steaks are tasting.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, imagine how healthy that must be for you.
Wonderful. Now, Carrie,
and such a gorgeous steak to eat.
And such a gorgeous
yellow
steak.
color.
And so delicious. Yes, so delicious.
I'm so eager in anticipation.
Same.
I'm going to go look for sunflowers already.
Now, feeding camellias, azaleas at the moment to encourage flowering. I'm going with the pawpaw leaves with bananas, coffees, and eggshells. I'm using that combo. I find that works very well on those plants because you got your nitrogen, you got your calcium, you got your magnesium, you got your N and your P and your K and all of these others micronutrients. And then, of course, if we're heading into the summer, how do you feel about water-wise crystals, putting into the garden, just to make sure that when spring comes, we're taking advantage of those spring rains?
Absolutely essential. You have to do it, I think, because, and we heard it on the radio, we hear it often, is that South Africa is a water-stressed country.
Yeah. And
I was doing a talk recently, and I just said to them, so often now we actually turn on our taps and there is no water.
Yeah.
We never used to, it used to be like you turn on your taps, you took for granted the water that would come out of them.
For sure.
And now, I mean, even we have people coming to the garden center to come and get water from us because they have no water at home.
Yeah.
And so I just think anything you can do to, when you're preparing your beds, because we were talking all about preparation. So if you add in There's a product called Hydrocash. There's water saving crystals. There's Koya fiber.
Carrie, I'm going to have to cut you short because I have the giveaway, and we've got 10 minutes. It is nearly 10 to. It is nearly 10 to, and I want to give our listeners a chance to win one of these because, as you know, they are quite rare. So yeah,
absolutely. Yes. Sorry.
So no,
Please.
please.
Saving.
You know, we could talk for ages, and we do. Carrie, thank you so much for being with us on Green Thumbs Up this morning. I'm looking forward to having you back on here. I think we need to definitely make this a monthly thing, girl, because come on now.
I would love that.
Yes. So we will chat again in September, just before the spring, when we will be having our Green Thumbs Up anniversary, our 1 year on the show, and we're going to be having a massive planning going towards that. There's another Nature's Market Day coming up, so I'm really excited. But I will speak to you soon. Thank you so much for being on the show, for all that you do for our listeners, all the great value that you add to our show. Thank you, Carrie. So, dear listener, that was Dr. Carrie Goodwin, who is a regular here on the show. Now, you're wanting to win one of these resurrection plants. I know you do want to. And so the WhatsApp number is 060 904 1056. 060 904 1056. However, if you want to phone in, then by all means you can phone us on 0861 904 904. Zach, do we have our lines open? 904 904. It's an 0861 number. And I'm going to be asking you 3 questions. So, what is the other name for the Rose of Jericho that I'm holding in my hand? If you're looking on Facebook, look how it's opening. Look how it's opening up. What is the other name? So, what is the other name for the Rose of Jericho? Rose of Jericho is known as what? What am I holding in my hand? That is your first question. You need to answer the 3 questions correctly, okay? Number 2, give me 2 health benefits. 2 health benefits that have been studied in terms of the resurrection plant. 2 health benefits that have actually been studied where the resurrection plant has really come into its own as something that we can use. And lastly, what color is the tea? What color is the tea? If you make the tea from this Rose of Jericho, what color is that tea going to be? So we have a listener on the line already. Sugra Ismail, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you, Rabia?
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah for calling in. So let's start with your first question. What is the other name for the Rose of Jericho?
Anastatica lepidophila.
Oh, that's a botanical name. Just the other common name. The other
Rose of Jericho.
The Rose of Jericho, this plant is also known as what?
A resurrection plant.
That's it. Perfectly good. And then 2 health benefits of this plant.
In the relief of kidney diseases, bad breath, gingivitis, breast pains.
Oh, wow. You are awesome. You're like an encyclopedia, has written everything down. Subhanallah. And then lastly, your last one. What color is the tea made from the Rose of Jericho?
A light amber.
Yeah. Yes, we have a winner, Sister Sugra Ismail. So I am going to call you personally. Brother Zach, if you could just retain that number for me. I'm going to call you personally and arrange for you to pick up your very, very own resurrection plant. If you're on Facebook at the moment, I want you to have a look at what it looks like, Sister Sugra, because it really is looking stunning. It's starting to open up. And I can't wait for you to look at it and hold your own in your home. Now, I would also encourage you, Sister Sugra, to go ahead and do a little bit more research on it. Now, are you a gardener yourself?
I am, but I'm still having to redesign my garden because I've had some construction done at home, so my garden's a bit of a mess.
That's okay. It's a good time now to kind of really think about what you're wanting to do in garden rooms and things, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Any special plans you have for your garden?
No. I'm actually looking forward to using this for my hubby who's recently been diagnosed with cancer. And I'm quite keen on using it for its medicinal benefits.
Okay, what I would also
Inshallah.
suggest for you, if it is a cancer, if I may, so soursop leaves are the custard apple. Okay. And soursop leaves make a great cup of tea, and it is cancer fighting. Would it be too much to ask what type of cancer, if I may, while I have you here?
In the stomach.
In the stomach.
In the
So
stomach.
stomach cancer,
Okay.
you're wanting to take soursop leaves, 2 cups a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. It's made with just 1 or 2 leaves. You can get those online, or I will give you my number. So I have somebody who may be able to get you some of those leaves as well. So let's see how we can help your husband, inshallah, through you. And then, of course, remember for the stomach, of course, you're wanting to make sure that you've got a very low sugar diet, right? Yes, inshallah, because cancer cells have twice the amount of receptors. But I'm sorry to hear that. But I must say, do
Shows.
Jazakallah so much.
Very informative. Yes.
Jazakallah. So, Sister Sugra, that was Sister Sugra Ismail, who is the winner of the Resurrection Plant giveaway. If you're on Facebook, if you're not on Facebook, please go to Facebook, go to Radio Al Ansar, go and have a look at the playback. And you can even just fast forward it if you want and have a look at how it's actually opened up. I'm going to lift it out of the water because I want to show you how it now looks like, that way. It now looks like a little plate of leaves. And you can see how the color is starting to change to green. There it is, right there in your face. It's starting to change to green. Brother Zach earlier on said, it looks like an alien. It looks like it's going to like jump out at me or something. It's going to get ya. It's going to get ya. Yes, there is the resurrection plant. Beautiful, rare, majestic, and something that, subhanallah, think about that. It is pretty much dead for up to 20 years even. And then suddenly it lands on a little bit of water and the leaves do just what it's doing for you now on Facebook. Curl open. There they are. They start to go green. And the next thing you know, you've got these beautiful white flowers. Now, I mentioned to you earlier on that we are going to be having our first year anniversary coming up in September. Before that, Radio Al Ansar is turning 12. Folks, Radio Al Ansar is having a birthday. It's our birthday. It's our birthday. Yeah, we have. And we are going to be having all sorts of wonderful things happening on all of the shows for our anniversary. So please do join us on Radio Al Ansar during the week, on the weekends. Listen to your favorite shows. Listen to your presenters. There are some messages that have come in. Brother Zach, if you could just have a look at those. I see Sister Fatima says, Salam's beautiful show. Need this plant desperately. Please, can you share, Fatima Ismail? I have a sister with breast cancer. Where can I get soursop? Okay, so I've got 4 minutes left of the show. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about cancer fighting. Here's what we're wanting to do for cancer fighting. Ideally, okay, I have clinics that do send me cancer patients because I put them onto keto, and keto really, really does work because it is a low carbohydrate so that the body is not getting a glycemic rush. So that means that the cancer cells basically die out because they need sugar in order to survive. Then what happens with keto is that the body begins to go into autophagy. If you listened to my show with Brother Zahir Bassa, then you will have heard that as well. With the body, we want to put it into a state of autophagy, where cells that are not working begin to be kind of self-eliminated by the body, and new cells are provided to the body. And those cells then are healthy cells and not cancerous cells. So we want to reduce the carbohydrates, we want to increase good proteins, and we want to make sure that we have lots of lovely greens. There is a brilliant medicinal mushroom for breast cancers, and that is your Trametes versicolor, or your turkey tail. So breast cancer turkey tail, go and have a look at turkey tail for breast cancer. Google that. You're going to find the work of I forget his name now suddenly, but you'll find the work. His mom had 82 years old, stage 4 breast cancer, was able to reverse it in 2 months with the Trametes versicolor. Reishi medicinal mushroom, or Ganoderma. Please do not buy the Ganoderma coffee. That's not going to help you anything for cancer. But Reishi medicinal mushroom as a support for cancer patients, and maybe we should have a dedicated show to this if you'd like that. The Trametes versicolor for the breast cancer works very well. For the other cancers, you've got reishi, and that is for your pancreatic cancer, for your colon cancer, reishi or Ganoderma. So the dosages there, please work with your medical doctors. Trametes versicolor, or turkey tail, that we use for breast cancer and ovarian cancer, by the way, that mushroom does not actually interfere with chemotherapy. It actually works very well with chemotherapy. It helps to prevent the nausea and things like that. But not a lot of doctors are into that. So find me on the socials if you want more information. Send me a message on the Facebook, and we can talk about some of these medicinal mushrooms as part of the Nature's Apothecary segment on the Green Thumbs Up show. So your soursop tea, then, that is 2 to 3 cups of tea a day. Soursop being the custard apple. There are different kinds of soursops. There is Annona rollina there as well, which is the bigger fruit, and all of those leaves are great for fighting cancer. But you want to stop feeding the cancer cells. That means nothing that is going to feed them. That means any sugar or anything that's going to give it a glucose boost. And then you're wanting to provide good nutrition. A lot of de-stressing and working on cortisol. And lastly, my tip for you as we turn 10 o'clock and the show comes to an end is to please consider colonic irrigation for extended times. So that could be colonic irrigation for 20 or 30 days. And that is to completely clean out the gut, because our gut is where our health begins. So that's it from the show today. I will be calling Sister Sugra. Don't go away, because Sister Selma KW is coming up with the Sunday Lounge with all of your favorite and most beautiful nasheeds. I'll show you once again the resurrection plant, because it is time to say goodbye from me and from the entire team at Radio Al Ansar. I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Get ready for Green Thumbs Up, the gardening and natural living show you didn't know you needed. I'm your host and life coach, Rabia Carvalho, and we're talking birds, bees, butterflies, and blooms, growing food in garden rooms, home-based holistic healing, and much more. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or nature lover, plant assassin, or permaculture professional, we got you.